please join me in welcoming JP Michelle to the stage.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Okay, Jeremiah, I'm in Chicago. It's the 2023 NCDA conference, and I see a living legend in the hotel lobby. It's Mark Savickas. Woo! A lot of you know Mark. Mark authored 80 articles, 40 book chapters, and his career construction interview changed career development. I want to have an idea that changes career development, but I need some help, a lot of help, and Mark's sitting alone. This is my chance. If I go see him, maybe Mark's going to give me the boost of confidence that I need. I'm just standing there thinking, don't blow this. Don't say something dumb in front of Mark. I take a deep breath and I walk over. Hi, Mark, I'm JP. We met before. I really admire your work, and I want to ask for your help. Mark nods, and instead of answering, he asks me, who did you admire when you were growing up? Uh-oh. I realize what's going on. I'm not just talking to Mark. I'm in a career construction interview right now in the hotel lobby. The lights are on. All right, I can do this. Who did I admire when I was growing up? Well, Mark, I admired my Uncle Brian because I admired his confidence. Mark nods and he waits. And then he says, and you've struggled with your confidence your whole life, haven't you? Ouch. That feels personal. The emotions flood in like right away, instantly overwhelmed, tears. I came here for validation and encouragement, but now I'm crying. What is this, Mark? I didn't cry because he was mean or harsh, right? I'm crying because I'm seen, maybe more deeply than I was ready for. And the truth is, Mark is right. I have struggled with confidence ever since I was a kid. Okay, this insight from Mark, it allowed me to see everything else differently. My favorite movie is Kung Fu Panda. Do you remember the story? The panda goes from couch potato to dragon warrior. I like a show called Stranger Things. The character 11 goes from helpless kid to supernatural superhero. I spent years working in industrial organizational psychology, struggling the same way. As a consultant, you need to work with new industries, new companies, new leadership teams, and you go from 0 to 60 as fast as you can. You go from a clueless outsider to trusted leadership advisor. I did this a lot. I did it for an aerospace manufacturer, paint stores, energy producers, mining equipment companies. I traveled to an actual gold mine in northern Canada. In those years, I ran something called an assessment center. You know how pilots have flight simulators? There's a version for that for aspiring executives. It's for leaders in career transition. So imagine what their day is like. They do a full day of role plays with actors where we assess their competencies, like how they inspire others, how they make decisions, how they solve problems. My first assessment center, I felt clueless. I had no idea what I was doing. What do I have to say about being an executive? Then I did 5, 10, and 50. And eventually I had hundreds of coaching conversations and different industries and different companies. And then I felt more clued in. I actually enjoyed this challenge. So yes, maybe Mark was right about my confidence. But how could it help me now with my current mission to change career development? I think Mark already had the answer. We had met years prior. He attended a presentation I did for the Ohio Career Development Association. And he told me, you help students build their confidence with your challenge mindset. Something changed for me in that moment. Before that, I viewed this struggle with confidence as a weakness, something I needed to fix. But what if my struggle itself was an asset? What if I saw it as a gift? I like that struggle of being a beginner. There's so much more I need to learn about so many things. And that quality, even the pain it can cause me, can be a gift. It can help others. Who can it help? Our clients. Our clients struggle with confidence, don't they? They need to go from clueless to clued in. When I say clued in, I mean you see the bigger picture. You understand what you're working on. Without that, it's hard to enjoy your work and to thrive. And our clients will need to do this multiple times, we already know, in their careers, because they're entering a world of work where things are changing, constant evolution. They need adaptability, they need reinvention. Their success and their confidence won't come from having all the answers like this. It's going to come from having a better way to navigate. So no, Mark didn't give me the answers I expected. He gave me something better, a new way to see myself and my work. Isn't that what you do for your clients? They come looking for a job title, and we give them something even better, a new way to see themselves and the world. So thanks for being with me on my journey from clueless to clued in. Let's see how many clients we can help with the same process. Do you ever feel like that, by the way, that your clients, whether they're adults, mid-career professionals, or students, they come to you and they're sort of looking at you in the eyes and they're like, tell me what to do. That's how I felt when I met Ana de la Fuente. So Ana is a student that is looking for what she wants to do. I told you about Mark's perspective. I want to tell you Ana's story next, not because we all work with students, but because every adult we work with went through this rite of passage that Ana goes through, this experience in high school thinking about your future. After that, I want to talk about the new words we can use for a new world. And then I'll share some case studies about how you might want to apply these ideas with the people that you serve. Are you ready to start? Are you sure? Oh, I'm so glad. Let me tell you about this wonderful Ana. I know you've met someone like her. In 2014, she walked into my office, sat on the chair, and she sighed. She's 17 and frustrated. She's struggling with her confidence because she has no idea what she wants to do. A lot of people want to help her, and they're asking her the famous question. What's the famous question? We've heard it before, right? And she doesn't know. And honestly, how could she? She probably knows 10 job titles, maybe 20, maybe 40. My question for Ana is, how many job titles are there out there? 1,000? 5,000? 40,000? According to the Canadian knock codes, the ONET equivalent, there's at least 40,000 jobs out there now. 40,000. And we know that they're changing all the time. She's not the only one that's struggling with this, by the way. The OECD surveyed 690,000 students ages 15 to 16 and asked about their career aspirations. Here's what they found out. First of all, the aspirations are narrow. 50% of surveyed kids, approximately, I think it's 53 and 49, depending on who they asked, wants one of 10 jobs. 10. That's half of the students. Okay? Next, they're mismatched. There's a gap between what they want to do and what the labor market needs. Also, big stereotypes around their background, their gender, and their actual aspirations don't really change much between the ages of 17 and 18. Here's what I noticed in the report. In the research, the career aspirations of youth are focused on job titles. Should we measure career readiness through the choice of one job title that they haven't tried yet? It reminds me of a famous John Crumbolt's quote, asking teens to pick a job title they've never tried out is like asking them to name a future spouse before allowing them to date. Planned happenstance, John Crumbolt's. Okay, is that the best approach for Ana? I'm not sure, maybe not. So I changed the question. I said, Ana, forget job titles for a second. What problem do you want to solve? To help her answer what problem do you want to solve, I gave her a copy of a magazine called The Economist, and I said, flip through it, pick your favorite article. So she flips through politics, finance, technology, and then she stops. She stops on this, strange brew. Do you see the green-colored water here? There's a specialized algae that's being developed to clean polluted waterways from oil spills. This speaks to Anna, so she starts speaking. She cares about this. She actually sounds confident when she's talking about what she cares about. So, okay, now we have a challenge to solve. Let's work backwards. What's the company that's working on this? We found their name. Keep working backwards. What jobs are they hiring for? And then what did these folks have to learn to be able to do that? Most of them are studying something called materials science and engineering. Neither of us have heard about it before. You're laughing, but maybe because you know how I felt. You know how I felt in that moment? I felt embarrassed. I'm the career coach, right? Shouldn't I know? That's when I realized I'm not here to hand Anna a list of job titles. I'm not a matchmaker. You know what a matchmaker is? Like a matchmaker analyzes people with science, knows all the options in the world of work, and finds you the perfect job forever. That's maybe what Anna was expecting, but I don't think that's what she needs. Instead, I'm here to help Anna do what? Find something that matters, and then articulate how she might contribute. So I'm not a matchmaker, I'm a catalyst. Anna ends up going to Penn State to study material science and engineering. This is Anna in her lab in her first year. Can you put yourself in her shoes for a moment, please? She's there at school. She knows the connection between what she's learning and the impact she wants to have. That's empowering. Long term, she doesn't need to get a tattoo of her favorite algae. Instead, she's got a way to navigate her career. Here's how. She's always going to be looking for problems to solve, even in the classroom. This is going to be her way to understand work now for the rest of her life. She's going to think about work through problems to solve. This is going to help her navigate a lifetime of role transitions, which is true whether you're 17 or 71, and I'm quoting a Rich Feller line here. This summer, Anna's going to finish her PhD in material science and engineering at Stanford. It's not about algae now. She's researching organic mixed conducting polymers. I don't know what that means. But I don't need to, because Anna does. And more importantly, she cares. Her research could lead to working on a few different challenges. She could bridge biology and electronics. She could design next-generation energy storage. She's not chasing a job title. She's creating purpose and impact. And she's building her future by asking better questions. And I learned something from Anna too. The world doesn't need more people who know exactly what job they want. It needs more people like Anna, people who are asking better questions. It doesn't need to be algae, engineering, or Stanford, by the way. You might be working with a client that's in the 99th percentile for 3D visualization. It's an aptitude where, like, if they close their eyes, they can rotate an object in space better than 99% of people. So for them, the challenge might be they want to make something that matters and work with big machines. Working backwards, they might find an aerospace manufacturer they want to work for. And in their research, they might see, oh, you know what, a 2-year skilled trade, that's the training I should pursue that's going to leverage my unique strengths and gifts. What we're talking about, this approach, what Anna went through, is very different than what her colleagues, her fellow classmates went through. They might have thought a bit about careers in this way. They might have thought, well, what's my favorite class? If I like math, then I can study maybe accounting in university. That's a very legitimate path because I get to become an accountant. And then once you get hired by a firm that hires accountants, and then maybe 5 years into your career, you'd wonder, like, what's the challenge I'm trying to solve as an accountant? Maybe it's about getting companies to pay as little amount of tax as possible. Maybe you hate that. Maybe you love it. I don't know, but it took you so long to get there. What if everyone in this room, we flip the model for our clients? What if we showed them inspiring challenges they can work on first, and then help them work backwards to find what companies in our state hire for this, or are working on this, who's there, what are their jobs, and what did they have to learn to be able to do that? And then we could tie it right back down to what we need to learn. What I'm talking to you about is called a challenge mindset. It's an approach to career exploration focused on finding challenges to tackle instead of job titles to fit into. I really want to get your perspective on this. You're experts on the people you help. Right before I ask you for your thoughts, I just want you to play for a moment. Would you play? I want to find out which challenge you'd rather work on. Let me read this out. I'm not sure if you can see the white there, but there's two challenges here. One of them says, design the future of transportation. That's on the left. The other says, improve mental health. We're going to do this together. You're just going to raise your hand, please, if you're up for it. If you want to design the future of transportation, you'll raise your hand, and then we'll do another one for improved mental health. Are you ready? Great. Those of you who want to design the future of transportation, please raise your hands. Thank you. Next, who wants to improve mental health? Ooh, big victory. I'm so sorry, design the future of transportation. You lost. Let's play again. Better luck next time. Would you rather help people reach their potential or invent new biotechnology? Let's do help people reach their potential. Okay. Invent new biotechnology. You can't see them, but there are a few brave souls who raised their hands. Good job. Yeah, it's good. You don't need to follow everyone else. I would love to ask you what made you choose that. In that conversation, might I learn about your values? Yeah. Could I learn about your interests, your strengths, your systems of beliefs, your personal experiences that have led you to where you are? I love listening to what people have to say about the challenges they want to work on. Notice there's a duality here. Is this an external lens on the world or an internal lens on people? A little bit of both. Because this is a labor market opportunity or challenge to solve, and you might choose it based on your own values. So you can have a lot of fun with this, with your coaching skills. Here's what we just played. We played a challenge face-off. This is like a March Madness bracket, right? Or whatever your sport, NHL playoffs, you get to pick. And the reason I playfully said you lost is because when I play this game, I like to provoke students. This game's been played in hundreds of classrooms, and the idea is that at the end, there's a winner and a loser, and those words can hurt, but I want to push them a little bit, and then I say, if you don't choose the challenges you want to work on, someone else will choose for you. I don't mind saying it twice. If you don't choose the challenges you want to work on, someone else will choose for you. You've met with someone that told you, I don't need career development, I know what I want, right? I'm an engineer. I'm locked in. I got this. What are you going to do when you graduate? Are you going to apply to 100 different companies and hope someone hires you? That's the popular job search strategy. But what are the chances that those companies are aligned with your values? What are the chances they're working on challenges you care about? What are these challenges? Well, let's say you're working with a group of adults that are very investigative. Maybe you're going to show them challenges from this list. These are the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Candy Ho is doing a great job of using this as a tool in career exploration. Look at these. You might ask people, do you want to work on ending poverty or hunger? Do you want to work on clean water or reduced inequalities? Lots of great challenges to work on. In fact, in my process, in my research to develop the challenge mindset, I found so many lists. If you've got people beyond the I, Holland Code, investigative, you might want to look at one of these lists. By the way, I can send these to you at the end of the talk if you want to take a look. There are so many challenges to solve in the world of work. When you get people to explore this, here's what might happen. They might tell you, I can't work on improving mental health. Only therapists do that. And then you get the fun job of saying, are you sure? What about the program coordinator? What about the graphic designer? What about the policy analyst tackling this from a research perspective? What about the data analyst? There are lots of software engineers that are building apps that are related to improving mental health. There's grant writers that have important roles. In the real world, it takes an interdisciplinary approach to solve a problem. Thank you for the yay. What does the yay get you? A client walked in to see you with a linear mindset. They see the world as accountant, accounting, 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 biology, biologist, therapy, mental health. That's not the way it works in the real world. So you can open up a huge world of possibilities for them just through this conversation. Okay, let me stop here. I want to find out your thoughts. How might a challenge mindset help your clients? Can you take 2 minutes in groups of 2? I want you to share with each other how this might help the people that you need to serve. Maybe 1 minute each you'll get to share. I know some of you will have to move to join another group, but in groups of 2, we'll do how might a challenge mindset help your clients, the people that you help. Let's go ahead. All right, let's come back. I love hearing your energy. Some people stood up during this. This was great. Thank you. You're so good at bringing new words to the people you help to help them see new possibilities. So you're not going to be surprised by this next story. In 2013, Mark Savickas stood on the NCDA stage, closing Keynote, and he did something I found remarkable. He traced the entire 100-year journey of our field. And he did it by carefully looking at the words that we use. For example, Mark reminds us that the self we create is a function of our language. That makes sense, right? If you don't have a word for it, you don't have it. That's the power of words. Here's a fear that's been eating at me for years. What if I don't have the right words to talk about work? Well, what is work? Let's think back to Anna. Is work a place, like an environment? Like I work outside in a school or in a hospital? It's not just the place where you work, right? Like what do? Okay, what you do are tasks. I write reports. I manage a database. Fine, that's the action, but why are you writing that report? What's in it? What about a job title? I'm a research analyst or a team lead. Those job titles mean different things in different contexts. All right, forget about all this. For the future of work, we need to prepare students with skills. They just need to learn the skills. I communicate. I make decisions. These are abstract words for someone like Anna. They're not tied to a context. There's no example. Work is about more than these words. Work is also about impact. Not just I'm a research analyst, but also I help clients make smarter transit decisions using data. Not just I'm a research analyst, but also maybe I help people get to where they need to go faster. I'll give you 3 more examples. For Clay wants to be a voice for the voiceless. Emily wants to reconnect people to nature. Cedric wants to create motorsports innovations. So they're using a new language to get a new sense of purpose. And it gives them new options. So they're working backwards to find companies, jobs, and learning they might not have thought about yet. All right, I know you're going to meet someone, you've met someone who's going to say, no, I don't want to save the whales, JP. I don't want purpose. I just want to make money. You've heard I just want to make money before, right? Okay, so how do I convert them to my way? I want them to be purposeful. I don't. If you do, let me know how you do it, how you work your magic, and you have a lot of magic. I think at first, I just want to meet them where they are. So I might say the best way to make money is to find an important problem to solve. I want them to see what work is, to understand it through the lens of challenges. I'll give you an example. My first job, birthday party host. Hey, who laughed at me? No, it's funny. It's funny, Jim. You can laugh all you want. It's funny. I didn't have a clown costume, by the way. But I did decorate the room, and I was very good at cutting the Dairy Queen ice cream cake. There's a trick. You have to run your knife through hot water before you do it. You're welcome. I did those tasks, but once I figured out that my ultimate goal was to create memories, it really changed the way I hosted the birthday parties. I went beyond my job description at that point. People in customer service, you've met people who are in customer service just to enforce the rules, and you've met people in customer service that are there to create meaningful experiences for others. It feels different to you and to them. An executive assistant, he might organize things, but he might also help someone reach their potential. My wife, as a mother, she nurtures human potential. These jobs all have impact. Without including the language of impact, we might rely on other metrics. Our clients might think about status, salary. Is this an easy job? Are those the right metrics? Are those the ones that we need now? I have 3 young kids, and I want them to know what work is. I don't want them to define work just through job titles. By the way, at his graduation from kindergarten, they asked them all, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And there were like 5 or 6 job titles going around. I didn't say anything to the teacher, okay? Give me some time. I'll start with my kids, by the way, because it's about more than that, isn't it? For example, here's what I want my kids to know. Why do we have companies in the first place? To make money. That's a bit of a cynical take. That's not what I want to give them. What makes someone start a company? The drive for greed and power. Maybe for some, but surely not most, right? How about what problem does this company solve? That's what I want my kids to know. So on Saturday, I brought my oldest, he's 6, to a hobby store. The goal is to grab a deck of Pokemon cards, okay? This is fun for him. For most kids, that's an easy trip. With my son, there's a risk that something might go wrong. I walk in and I'm on high alert because I've developed a bad habit as a parent. When I'm out with my son, I scan faces. I don't mean to, it just happens. I'm always checking, are other people judging us? Judging me or judging him? I know I shouldn't, but I can't help it. So I walk in and I scan. And it's fun. There's like tables set up, people playing games, trading cards, all ages. It's bustling in there. And I see a dad, and he's kneeling in front of his son, speaking quite low and quite soft. Oh, that's how I talk to my son. The boy's struggling with something, you can tell, and I recognize his facial expression. Oh, well, that kid's probably neurodivergent in his own way, but also just like my son. The dad, he's probably going through what I'm going through. And then, while I'm staring deeply, the dad looks up at me. We lock eyes, and he gives me a nod. Everything slows down. The store sounds dim. And the nod, it says, I see you. I know. Thousands of hours of parenting a child with special needs, the tantrums, the panic attacks, my misdirected striving for normalcy, it's all recognized in an instant. So I don't walk out of the store with just a pack of cards. I walk out feeling less alone. So what's the store for? To make money? Or is it a space that creates belonging? Yeah, there's store clerks, and you see the customer service rep and the franchise owner. The job titles don't tell the whole story. What might go deeper is the impact the store has, the problem it solves. Without the right words, my son could miss all of that. Isn't that the important part? That's the power of having the right words. Why do we need new words now? Doesn't our field have enough words already? Well, we're living in a new reality at work. Things are changing fast. A new reality needs new words. Last month, Google released their latest AI generation video model, and it's useful to see because it allows us to reflect on our new reality. I'd invite you to take a look with me just to see what it looks like.
So this is all AI generated now?
Yes.
Wait, are both of us AI tonight?
Yes. The The band is fake, too.
Is this briefing fully AI produced?
Yes, including your question.
So this is all AI generated now?
Yes, so is the pasta.
All right. When I first saw this, I was surprised. It's a bit creepy, no? Is it, yeah? It's better than I thought at this stage. So it brings like new challenges to solve, right? Like we need to design systems for verifying reality. Like I told you it was fake, I knew it was fake, but if you didn't know, like it's gonna get tricky. We need to reimagine digital literacy for youth. We need to counteract bias that's gonna be amplified by AI. Lots of new things to work on. And of course, AI, the popular topic, it's driving a lot of these changes. Microsoft's Chief Technology Officer, Kevin Scott, he says that at Microsoft, AI will write 95% of their code in 5 years. What does that mean for the software engineers? What are the new words they're gonna need? I don't wanna make a judgment, by the way, on the advantages or disadvantages of growth, but I know that billions of dollars are being spent to accelerate that growth. What I want is I want to deeply serve our clients no matter what happens. And to do that, I need to be present to see what's really happening. I want to guide people in this new world, and I know you do too. But I'm worried. How can I guide them if I don't see what they're actually working on, the challenges they're trying to solve? With all of these changes, not just the tech, but cultural, political changes, people are losing a sense of who they are and where they're going. We went from having chores on the farm to jobs in the city to careers in companies. The companies then evolved from simple machines to complex ecosystems. The grand narrative has dissolved. There's a decline in predictable, identifiable stages, paths. The script that people have is more vague. People need a new way to think and to see through new words. So, today, officially, the new words I'm submitting for your approval into our collective vocabulary is challenge to solve. A challenge to solve, not just to choose where we're going, but to see more clearly the work that we're doing. What's at stake if we don't add new words? Well, Wittgenstein said, the limits of my language mean the limits of my world. All the adults that we meet went through what Anna went through. Their career exploration was limited by the words they had at the time. No wonder so many people are unhappy at work. There's a human cost to not having the right words. There's someone in this audience that doesn't care at all about the human costs. They have no heart. They want to know about the money. I'm just kidding, there's not really a person like that here. But if you want to be more pragmatic about it, what's the financial cost? What's the financial cost of having a generation that's disconnected from what the world needs? I don't know how you do the calculation of that, but it has to be in the billions of dollars. That's what makes your work so important. Without this connection to what the world needs, students can't really listen and understand to what we have to offer. Our clients might struggle to explore what's out there. How do they apply to jobs, interviews, and perform in their job if they don't know what they're working on? Without the right language, everything else we do loses its power. Our advice, our tools, our support. That's why there's urgency in making a change. In his talk, Mark Savickas said, the more languages you speak, the better off you are. I want my kids to speak languages, the language of work. I want Anna to speak the language of work. I want all workers to speak the language of work. Okay, you can tell by now that Mark's talk was a big inspiration to me and so many other people. And I recommend you watch it because when you watch it, at least I felt like I was part of something much bigger than myself. I rewatched it lately and I realized it wasn't just about inspiration. It was actually an invitation. Listen to this. Mark said, to me, this conference is like a community library. Each person is a novel, an expert book that I can read to learn and grow and to learn new words from you. That's an invitation for you and for me, for everyone in this room, to create what's needed for our time. That's what our clients need from us. I don't know about you, but I wish I knew this earlier on in my life. I remember Monday morning, March 1st, 2006, I'm standing in front of 500 biology students who do not want me to be there. Have you presented to a group that doesn't want you there? You know what it's like. Okay, I'm going to start my presentation. Everyone's talking. I'm nervous, of course, but I'm prepared. I want them to take me seriously. Would you take me seriously? In Canada, we call that hockey hair. It would have been fine if I played hockey, but I don't. So I'm a little confused at this stage of my life. Sure. So I decided the best way to be less confused is, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get the best job title possible. At my age, it's president of the Student Federation. And if I'm going to do this, all I have to do is convince 27,000 students to vote for me, starting with the 500 people in front of me. So I pitch my little heart out. I pour everything into the presentation. And the next 50. Cafeterias, classrooms, club meetings, hallway conversations. I recruited a team of 20 volunteers to help me. I debate opponents, give interviews. I even dropped 2 classes. I worked nonstop for 6 weeks because in my mind, if I won this thing, I'd be someone. It wasn't just a title to me. It was proof that I was on a good path. 6 weeks later, it's election night. Time to count the votes. We're in the student center bar. There's music, lights, drinking. I'm trying to look cool, trying to look calm, but I'm a wreck inside. It's not the election that's on the line, right? It's my identity. It's who I get to be if I win. Finally, they announced the results. And with a margin of 6 votes, second place goes to JP Michel. Congrats. I lost by 6 votes. So I'm standing there in front of everyone, and I smile and I clap for the winner. Yay. Inside, I'm crushed. It hurts. For months afterwards, I keep replaying it in my head. What happened? What could I have done? This is what I realize. The bright young woman who beat me, she focused on helping the students, like the challenges on campus, problems to solve. Because of this, she had a much better platform. Me, on the other hand, I had the wrong mindset. Like I was thinking, president, the job title. Not enough on the actual challenges I need to solve. Like, what do the students need? That's when it hit me. The job title doesn't really matter. The challenges do. Now that I understand that, I can't unsee it. All the students that I'm meeting with are making the same mistake. It's like they're choosing a job title based on what it sounds like, not what the job actually does. And again, not the tasks or skills, but what is the job for? What's the impact? So back then, what happened? Like maybe my definition of success was prestige, right? For others, it might be salary, power, perks, but it all misses the point. Without the lens of impact, I had weak, empty goals. So for the next 10 years, I saw students make the same mistake over and over. It's sort of like they're obsessed with job titles. So I became obsessed with changing this. I found my own challenge to solve, okay? I want to empower people to reach their potential through a challenge mindset. This quote gave me a big dose of inspiration. Don't ask kids what they want to be when they grow up. Ask them what problem they want to solve and what they need to learn to be able to do that. Jamie Cassatt, he was at Google at the time, and I'm like, that's it. Like, that's what I learned in all my years of human resources consulting and industrial organizational psychology. Like, he said it. So then I went to a student, and I said, what problem do you want to solve? And they had no idea what to say. Okay? So what I did is I asked, what if I showed them? I created a deck of challenges to solve. I made this tool for myself, and then other people said, well, I want to use this too. So I launched them in 2017. I got so much great advice along the way. The late Dick Nadell had lots of ideas to share, right? It's a card sort. It's engaging. So many people at NCDA stepped up to help. They shaped the deck, the idea, the resources. They said, okay, we need more arts, more skilled trades, more tech, better images, more diversity. We went from 24 to 56 cards. A lot of you are in this room that helped grow this idea. Today, there's over 45,000 decks of cards in use a little bit all over the world, and you've helped this idea get there. There's still so much more room to grow for the challenge mindset. We've written a book called The World Needs You. The reason I chose that title is because I met so many adults, professionals, students. When they showed up, it felt like they were saying, the world doesn't need me. And I politely disagree. There are so many problems to solve, so many challenges to meet, so many opportunities to take advantage of. We do have a lot of room left to grow for the challenge mindset. We want peer-reviewed, empirical studies with measurable outcomes. Maybe there's someone in the room right now that's going to help us do that, I hope. There's so many people that have taken this idea way beyond what I expected. I want to share some of their innovations with you because it might help you think about how you want to use this idea creatively with those that you help. Let's start with a business school student. They're mid-career, going back to school to do an MBA. They're looking to make a change. They're ambitious, anxious maybe a little bit. So the process starts. You're going to get a great job. Here are the recruitment timelines. Prep your resume. Start the networking. It all feels mechanical, like a conveyor belt. Just tell me what to do to get the highest paying job as possible. Is that really what everyone wants? Jennifer Bader, the director at Ivy Business School, she knew there's got to be a better way. She thought, well, you know what? We have world-class research centers right here at Ivy. We've got faculty already working on critical global issues. What if we connected students to that? What if we created our own list of challenges, our own deck of cards? So we did. Here's what they made. They looked at all the research that was happening and launched their own deck of cards. Like, for example, they've got a team of people working on boost electrification. They've got a group working on helping banking go digital. So imagine what it's like for their students. They gain a much deeper understanding of the world of work. They start with purpose, more possibilities, new words. There's one thing that struck me about Jennifer's story. In 2022, their dean launched a new strategic plan. We develop leaders who think globally, act strategically, and address critical issues. So she read that and she's like, well, if not us, then who? And she meant like career services. That meant career services was equipped to do this, and she wanted to prove it. It required a more strategic role. In today's higher ed climate, where people feel understaffed, overextended, fighting for relevance, that's no small move. For those of you who are working in schools, let's be honest. Do you feel like your budget is too big? Do your campus leaders say yes too often? Are you drowning in too much respect and resources? Probably not. That's why alignment matters. I'm going to use that word for the first time, alignment, because that's what Jennifer did. That's how she made her work hard to ignore. She connected it to what the institution, what the leaders already cared about. She connected her problem to solve with theirs. So she didn't just update a process, she tried something new. And students started seeing careers not as jobs, but as contributions. Being strategic matters. Jennifer ended up involving faculty in the project, all sorts of partners on campus, because she wanted to broaden the reach of what she was doing. That reminds me of Jeremy Padani's work. I did a webinar with him recently, and he's got some cool new words. He describes this as, you see on the right here, the career ecosystem era, where we don't just measure reach, we measure readiness. So it allows us to focus on different students at different times on campus. We bring meaningful career conversations to them. When Harvard University started doing this, they focused on incoming students, specifically FGLI, first generation low income students. We presented together at NACE a few years ago. And they talked about how their students reported feeling pigeonholed, specifically the first gen students who might have had limited exposure to the world of work before they arrived at Harvard. So what happened before they arrived? Maybe they were asked this question. Have you seen this? Do you like to buy and sell stocks and bonds? I said no, by the way. because I didn't know what a stock or a bond was. My parents are teachers, so we didn't talk about finance at the dining room table, right? So what are the implications of that? Well, maybe if we ask, what do you like, it might reflect on what they already know. And is that going to double down on who they were at the expense of who they can become? To them, that was a scary idea because they went against what they wanted to do, equity. They wanted to make sure that where you come from does not determine where you go. So that's why they look for a different approach. They're not the only school, by the way, doing things differently. Just on this notion, I got a really useful description of this by Rich Feller. If they haven't been exposed to STEM careers, for example, they're less likely to self-report an interest in those paths. After all, it's hard to be interested in something you know nothing about. It's obvious, but it wasn't obvious to the students. And Rich is tackling this by looking at aptitudes. How can we help people find aptitudes through use science? So they're not the only school doing things differently. At Western, they did a flipped career fair where students first identified challenges they wanted to solve, and then they visited with the companies on campus at the fair that were working on this. They were the first to do this. It allowed for a more meaningful conversation between the employers and the students. Since then, dozens of schools have done this. University of South Florida, they asked students, okay, you're not sure about your major, choose a challenge to solve and then visit with psychology, sociology, business, and ask them, how can you help? How can this degree help me contribute to the challenge I care about? These leaders in schools, outside of schools, working with adults, they're finding creative ways to integrate chaos, life design, hope, and adaptability in their work. And that's why I'm so excited about the future of career development, if you can't tell already. Okay, when I walked up to Mark in that hotel lobby, I was hoping for what? Encouragement. Instead, he gave me a mirror. So thanks, Mark. I realized confidence is not going to come from certainty. It's going to come from having better questions. Asking better questions. That's what Mark taught me. That's what Anna taught me. That's what Jennifer taught me. And countless other people sitting in this room now. Our clients are entering a world where the old scripts don't work. Do they have the right tools? Do they have the right words? If they can't say it, they can't see it. If they can't see it, they can't be it. So when the world feels chaotic with AI disruption, political instability, concerns about the environment, who does the world need? It's you, the people in this room. Why you? Well, you normalize uncertainty and not knowing. You make space for possibility. You know the psychology of change. You're catalysts for meaningful exploration. You help people tell their stories. You bring evidence, perspective, and hope. You foster autonomy. So if the question is, who does the world need right now? The answer is you. The world needs you. Thank you. Thank you.